Denmark have convincingly beaten Wales 4-0 in Amsterdam. Um, the first 10 minutes was very even, but after that, Wales couldn't get out of their half, really. They could have been more than 1-0 down at half time. It could have been 3. Dolberg, they couldn't cope with him, and he gets 2. The second goal for Dolberg is a gift, but the first goal, they're so passive in defence. He loses his marker, picks up the ball, goes on a little mazy run, and then he's allowed time to set himself, open up his body, and it's a bullet of a finish. It's a brilliant finish. And Dolberg, well, he's only had 2 appearances in the tournament, wasn't selected in the first game, wasn't selected in the second game, came on as a sub in the third, I believe. And he starts this game. There's a reason why he started, and he's shown obviously something to his manager. That first goal was a brilliant finish, but very passive defence from the Welsh. After that, he had a cheeky little back heel. He could have had a second. Mailer was causing all sorts of problems down the flanks as a wing back, finding space. And Wales were lucky to be 1-0 down at half time. You would think changes should happen at half time. They make no tactical changes at all to the lineup. They don't make any substitutions. Now, the second goal, controversy. Yes, it was a foul by Simon Kjær on Kiefer Moore. Referee waves play on. The referees have been doing that a lot in this tournament. You've got to play to the whistle. The play breaks down. Braithwaite's in all sorts of space on the wing. Now, did the ball go over the dead ball line? It's not clear and obvious for me enough. It went to a VAR check. I don't think the ball fully broke the pane of the dead ball line, the touch line. But he's allowed so much space to control the ball, go on a run up the wing, and pick across. The clearance to Dolberg, that's great centre forward play, tracking into the box and waiting to pick up scraps. But that was a very nervy, rushed clearance. Very, very nervy, rushed clearance by a young and experienced defender. But the Welsh defence was all over the place in this game. And after 48 minutes, it's 2-0. Now, it should have been more. I think Wales were lucky to be 1-0 down at half time. Yeah, there are you can complain, but if the referees wave play on and VAR is not checking that as an instant, you have to play to the whistle. And defensively, they were all over the place. Dolberg should be marked in the box. He's lost his marker in the box yet again. It's the second time he's lost his marker in the box, and he could have had a hat trick. They couldn't deal with him. They couldn't pick up his runs. He's dropping slightly deeper. He's making a little movement. And the Welsh defensively couldn't cope with him. As the game wore on, Denmark were pushing for a third. Wales had a brief spell in the second half where Aaron Ramsey got on the ball a little bit more. Gareth Bale gets on the ball a little bit more. Joe Allen gets on the ball a little bit more. These are their experienced leaders in that squad. But Kasper Schmeichel has not had a save to make. The Danes are blocking everything. Christian has moved into a defensive midfield role, so there's screening the back four rather than a back three with 2 wing backs. And Denmark have congested the midfield, won the midfield battle. So when play breaks down, they've got that extra midfielder to launch a counter-attack with. And Mailer's goal, I don't know what the Welsh defence are doing there, but he's wandered into acres of space, and every single outfield player is on the Welsh right, the Danish left, and on the Danish right, Mailer's just he could have walked that into the net, quite frankly. Then when he gets the ball, he's allowed to go on a little run. Then he's allowed to cut inside on his stronger left foot. And there's no attempt to try and intercept the ball when he opens his body up. There's no attempt to shut him down and put pressure on him and force him into the middle of the pitch. He's allowed to, very similar to Dolberg's first goal, open up his body onto his stronger foot, select where he wants to, belt the ball, and he leathers that. Danny Ward's got no hope in saving that one. And it's 3-0 after 88 minutes. The game is gone. Wilson gets sent off. Was it a straight red? You can debate, should it have been a yellow? Game's gone at this point. The Welsh have completely imploded. But it's given as a red. It's the second straight red the Welsh have had in the tournament. So, had this still been a group stage game and it was coming down to disciplinary, reds and yellows, Wales, if they were a third best placed team, may not have gone through if it was all tied. It's a knockout game, so it's not as important. But Kiefer Moore was already going to miss the next game with 2 yellows. So they've already got some selection headaches anyway. But at this point, Wilson lose. It's a rash challenge, yes. Was it deserving of a red? It depends what instructions the referees have been given at the start of the tournament for certain tackles and what they've been advised should be a straight red or a yellow. Before every tournament, the referees have a meeting about what is considered straight red worthy and what's considered a yellow and what's considered a warning and just a foul. So, and the squads are all aware of this, of what the guidance is to UEFA on certain challenges and certain incidents. So it's a rush of blood to the head. In my view, it's most likely a yellow. But the game's gone. Braithwaite's goal, there's VAR involved. But they've been very, very good with VAR in the sense that it's got to be they're reading from your shoulder, not your arm. So, but when you're using lines on a replay, and it's we're talking centimetres at most, couple of centimetres at most, it's not clear and obvious. They still need to, I think, fix VAR somewhat. But 4 goals, I mean, that's right on full time. You can't argue with it. You cannot argue the fact that Denmark completely dominated this game, and unfortunately, it is a blowout. And you can argue the travel the Welsh have had to do between Baku and Rome and Amsterdam. Denmark have had to travel 350 miles. Wales, a couple of thousand miles. You could argue that has had some bearing on the game. But you've had 2 rest days. In fact, Wales qualified quite some time ago for the second round. They've had also 2 rest days where there's no games being played. The tournament's had 2 rest days. But they also decided to have their training camp, their base camp in Wales, rather than either in Azerbaijan or in Rome. That was a Welsh FA decision, so you could argue that. You can't blame the travel solely. You can't blame, the second goal shouldn't have stood because it's a foul. You have to play to the whistle. You have to play to the best of your ability, and Wales were not good enough. Denmark, they are playing on emotion, but they've scored 8 goals in 2 games. They should not be underestimated. There seems to be a freedom with Denmark and a flowing, just a flow to their play. And I would actually argue if Christian Eriksen, obviously, was still in the team, do Denmark play with such freedom and flow? I think having Christian Eriksen not in the squad has actually liberalised the Danes a little bit, where every player has to raise his game. And yes, what happened to Christian Eriksen was a tragic incident. And thankfully, he's recovering. But without Christian Eriksen on the side, even with Christian Eriksen on the side, they look very rigid and more slow-paced. Without him being the main man, other players like Dolberg, like Mæhle, like Braithwaite have to massively raise their game. And they've been brilliant. I know they're playing on a lot of emotion, but they've got a fair bit of skill, this Danish side. They're great technically, they've got a lot of pace and energy, and they are going to be dangerous in the later rounds of the tournament. And they are an underdog, they are a dark horse. It's like 1992 all over again, where they weren't expected to do anything. They struggled in the group stage in that tournament as well, and then they went on and won the whole thing. So this Danish side are dangerous. Wales, they have to be massively disappointed with how they performed today. If you're going to use excuses like travel or the second goal shouldn't have stood, then that's not good enough. So first round of 16 match done. Thumping win for the Danes. Thank you very much for watching. Let's look forward to Italy-Austria, which kicks off in half hour as I'm recording this video. So that's going to be a very, very interesting game to watch. The Italians are heavy favourites in that. But this game was when I was doing my preview the other day, I thought it'd be a very even contest and quite open. It was an open game. There was a lot of goals just for one team. I was very surprised by the Welsh performance and disappointed. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you for all your comments and likes and subscribes in the last couple of days for the channel. And I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.